Hello and welcome everybody. Tonight we are going to be playing our very first session, our session 0 of Blades in the Dark. It's a working title. We don't have a title for the campaign yet, but I figure we could workshop some of that tonight. We're going to be doing character creation, session 0, and just kind of setting the scene for the setting. So first off, we've got with us tonight Thundercat.
Hi.
Vandalxero.
Heyo.
And Knocka.
It's happening.
And these are going to be our core players. We may have some more guests along the way during this, but these are going to be our core players for this campaign. Yeah, I'm excited. I've started several months ago. I started looking at this game and I started listening to some APs for it and reading the rules for it. And I fell in love with it. Like I really love the way this game is set up, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. So we're going to get started with making our characters first. Before we get into that, what announcements do we have this week?
Well, you can head on over to YouTube and check out anything that we've ever done, including our awesome campaigns on Fridays and previous Saturday night campaigns at Dysfunctional RPGs. Or, if you're into space and all the cool things that can happen in outer space, you could head to anywhere you catch your podcasts and catch our podcast, Parallax Systems, where we have a full Season 1 and Season 2 is on its way out. You can also catch all the lore drops that happen from that particular realm, star system, the Parallax Systems.
Realm. It's our realm.
It's our realm.
Takes place.
We've created a realm. Totally.
Knocker, you got anything? Not cool. Okay, moving on.
Well, someday I'll have something. Today,
Sweet.
One day.
When you got it, I'll talk about it.
something to advertise.
Cool. All right. Well, with that out of the way, yeah, let's get into it. I'll start off by reading the little blurb at the very first page of the book about the game. So Blades in the Dark is a game about a group of daring scoundrels building a criminal enterprise on the haunted streets of an industrial fantasy city. There are heists, chases, escapes, dangerous bargains, bloody skirmishes, deceptions, betrayals, victories, and deaths. We play to find out if the fledgling crew can thrive amidst the teeming threats of rival games, powerful noble families, vengeful ghosts, the blue coats of the City Watch, and the siren song of the scoundrel's own vices.
Is it like a cyberpunky game? Is that what it? That's the kind of the vibe I'm getting. Like it kind of has like tech and not tech. I don't know. Maybe.
So I guess I can go ahead and kind of read what I've got as an introduction, just to kind of set the scene a little bit. So the book itself has a setting within the book called Doskville, which is an industrial city that is very foggy, dark all of the time. And it's surrounded by this fog. Yeah, let me go ahead and read what I've got for you, because I've taken a little bit from the book and transferred it into something that you guys are all pretty familiar with, and it's Vrist. You guys have all played in the continent of Vrist. Kevin here has made that for his homebrew campaign, for his home game for years, right? And
About a year, yeah.
About a year.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to play with him in a project we worked on a while back in the city of Durham Falls, And I absolutely loved the layout of the city. So I took Durham Falls and I have taken it and kind of moved it into several hundred years into the future after some different events have happened. And it's kind of changed a little bit. So if you want to throw up the map of Durham Falls there, I'll go ahead and pull up my my intro. So
Oh, that didn't work. Hold on.
oh,
Let me move it.
yeah, pull it. Yeah, you
Hold
go.
on. Let me I'll put it. I'm gonna do a different way then. That
Do
didn't
an
work.
image source. Yeah.
It didn't work the way I wanted it to.
So anyway, yeah, it's what you're about to see is the map of current Durham Falls. Before it was a large city in Vrist, known for its casino and tourism, and it's just a vibrant city. And it's now kind of a husk of what it once was. But there's still some key landmarks there. And we'll go over kind of what's going on in each one of those districts here in a little bit. But first of all, this is Durham Falls. Situated on the western coast of Vrist, this was once a thriving metropolis. Tourists would flock from all over to enjoy its famous casino and take in the wonders of the city. But time can often be cruel. Many miles away in the city of Kerrigan, a dark presence lurked in the shadows. A great lich, known only as the Necromancer, lay waiting for his time to strike. With dark, ancient magic, he performed a ritual that would plunge Vrist into perpetual chaos. One city at a time, the Necromancer took power, raising crops, subjugating the populace, and leaving behind a cloud of darkness. This magical darkness spread across the realm, blotting out the sun, bringing with it death and decay. Legend has it that the Necromancer was eventually killed and devoured by one of the very beasts that spawned from this void. Even after his death, the void remains and still envelops all of Vrist. The society collapsed and the remaining peoples fighting for their own survival. Warlords began to rise to power. Ruined cities were rebuilt, even if they were just shadows of their former selves. The gods had abandoned this realm, forsaken all who remained. Leaving no resting place for the dead, every living soul was condemned to eternally haunt what was left of this world. The only relatively safe spaces left are protected by giant steel walls, surrounded by electrical barriers, powered by demon blood. The Leviathans, massive mutated demon spawn, are hunted and their blood is processed in order to fuel the barriers to hold off whatever horrors lie within the void. The work of Leviathan hunting is grueling and dangerous, but it does earn a decent living for those who can survive the voyage. The owners of these ships find themselves amongst the few wealthy elite, hiding away in their ivory towers, while the not so fortunate live in filth. Here in Durham Falls, the casino remains, but the Blitzball Stadium has since been converted into a horse track.
Boo!
There in the center of town, you'll see a large hill that was once a Blitzball Stadium, is now a horse track built into the hill. And the Great Mall was torn down to make way for an industrial center.
Yeah.
What was the name of the river there? I couldn't.
My heart's breaking. Oh, I can find it for you.
Huh?
Let me get my notes out.
Hey, there you go. Get your notes out. I meant to look it up from the lore doc, but
you think it's that one, the one that says Vrist on it?
Maybe, probably.
Big fucking notebook.
Probably that one.
Let me move my microphone. Right. Where are the maps? But continue. I'll find.
Okay, so that river, whatever that river is called, remains one of the few remaining viable trade routes between cities, making Durham Falls steel manufacturing an incredibly valuable resource for the rest of Rist. Those who don't work in the trades are forced to make themselves a living any way they can. You find yourselves in St. Helena's. St. Helena's is a refuge for the beaten down lower class of the city. A slum made up mostly of impromptu shacks, lean-tos, and tents. In its center lay an open market, where at all hours of the day, hawkers line up to peddle their wares. While the rest of the city enjoys a certain level of protection from the city's bluecoats, St. Helena's lies mostly untouched by their jurisdiction. In their place, gangs of the district rove the streets, imposing their will on the public. This brings us here, to the three of you, as you sit around a table in candlelight, discussing where you'll find your next meals. Your lots in life are all different, but they've all led you here, to this place now, to an abandoned shack in St. Helena's district, southwest Durham Falls. And that's where we'll kind of start everything once we have our characters here. We'll make our characters introduce, and we'll get back to your little shack. There on the map, you'll see in the bottom left corner there, that's going to be St. Helena's. On the map, it does show there are some brick and mortar buildings there, but they're kind of few and far between. Most of the buildings there are going to be, canvas roofs. The few people who do have the luxury of a tin roof are probably the more well-to-do of the district. This is definitely the lower class district of the city, and you'll see these are the people who either are not a member of one of the trade unions, or have not been successful as a merchant, or are just new to town. Although there's very few of those because it's extremely dangerous to leave the city walls. The entire city is in perpetual darkness. There are street lights that block the streets to give you a certain amount of ambient light within the city. But other than that, it is completely dark. The soil has turned barren over the years, and nothing seems to grow, except inexplicably at the mayor's compound. He seems to have a beautiful garden, and no one in town is quite sure how he manages to keep that up with no sunlight and barren soil. He also seems to share that secret with Stokes Croft, which is a farm in the northern side of town that provides some of the only source of food outside of the naturally growing mushrooms that you find all over the town. These mushrooms do provide some nutrients. That's typically what the poorer folks are going to be eating is these forage mushrooms. There's not a ton of nutrients in them. They don't fill you up. They just barely keep you alive.
So are we like mostly malnourished-esque? Like,
yeah, I think so. I think it's going to depend a little bit on what kind of backstories you guys come up with while we're making the characters. You guys at this moment are hungry. It's probably been a few days since you've eaten. Whether or not you're fully malnourished, I think, is likely. But I mean, if you were working on if you were part of the longshoresman union before this started, then you might have been fed. But and there's various. I sent you guys another document that has the various factions throughout the town. I think when I last checked, I had 22 factions in there. Let me take a look. I thought I had that pulled up already, but I'll pull that up real quick. Long map I've got. Here we go. Pull up my other map. Cool. All right. Yeah, so if you take a look at the map, I'll kind of go section by section. We'll start at the eastern gate. So as you come into the gate, you will see a security checkpoint, first of all, where the blue coats are checking every single person that comes in. They're searching for any valuables and applying any tariffs or taxes that would apply to any valuables. There's not much trade that comes in through that gate because it is such a dangerous route. I would say if any caravans do come through, they are heavily armored. There is the occasional hunting party that'll go out in search of leviathans on the land, but it is significantly safer. Still not safe, but significantly safer to hunt them by sea. As you come into the right, you'll see there's the administration district. That's where the mayor's compound is. There's a few administrative buildings. And then across the street from that, you'll see Little Dayun, where refugees from Fort Dayun have kind of set up their own district. This is the home of the Thieves Guild. And
the name of the river was the Durham River. Pretty easy.
The Durham River. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So the Thieves Guild are a local branch of the Dayun Thieves Guild. They handle most of the thieving and burglaries around town. If you were to get into that and they were to find out about it, they would levy a tax on you because they are one of the more powerful gangs in the city. They are a tier 4 gang. So basically there's 5 tiers of gangs, 6 tiers of gangs. So it goes from 0 to 5. You guys are starting out at level 0. You guys are just Joe Schmo on the street. So our tier 5 gangs, just so you guys have some reference, are the Dealer. The Dealer is still around. He still runs the underground in the city. The title of the Dealer has been passed down for hundreds of years.
That was gonna be my question because I know who the Dealer is in my head, and then
Right.
anything is possible.
Yeah, no. So it's not the same person as the last time we all played in Durham Falls, which you can check parts of in our Lost Episodes playlist on YouTube. There's we only put out I think 1 episode of it ever, but you can catch the first episode of that, and you can actually see some visuals to see what Durham Falls used to look like if you're interested in that. But yeah, so the Dealer, the title of the Dealer has been passed down for hundreds of years. It remains the most prominent and powerful criminal organization in Vrist. The Dealer and his thugs control the entirety of the underground networks in Durham Falls, and therefore have their hands in almost all of the dealings. All criminal organizations must pay a tithe of 1 coin per score to the Dealer. If you're going to be involved in criminal activities, you must pay the Dealer for working in the city. That's a tier 5, so that's number 1. Also a tier 5 is going to be the mayor, who's in the administrative district. It's an elective position, or an elected position, but it's conveniently been held by the same person for the last 23 years. He controls the city guard, and he controls the city administration and collects taxes. You will have 1 coin of taxes due each week. And we'll kind of play that narratively. We'll say maybe every 4 sessions or something like that. We'll kind of see how the game flows, and figure out where that comes around. But we'll set that up kind of as we go. There is the council, located in High Point. It's a secretive organization of Durham Falls elites. They have a private security force, and they do not meddle with city affairs unless it affects their own profits. And then we get into the tier 4 factions. There's the Soul Wardens Guild, which are located in the old temple. This was an abandoned temple that no one worships any gods anymore. No one's even really sure who this temple was built for. But it is a ruined temple and one of the few remaining original buildings from Durham Falls. But the Soul Wardens Guild has set up their shop there. They're a religious organization tasked with the eradication of souls following death and hunting down apparitions. So, I definitely instead of apparitions, I got put abortions.
Yeah,
they're hunting down apparitions.
Apparition. Okay. I read it and I was like,
hunting down apparitions. So basically, anytime someone dies in this world, because the gods have left and have basically closed the gates to the heavens or hell or whatever the afterlife holds, then souls continuously haunt the world until they are released. The Soul Wardens are tasked with releasing those souls and making sure that none of them haunt within the city.
Fucking tater.
So they do not require tithes, but an optional tithe of 10% is suggested. So that's entirely up to you, but it may influence their standing towards you. Starting out, your status with all of these factions is going to be at 0. As you have different actions and do different things, that status is going to change, and it's going to be plus or minus. And depending on where that status is, these factions might do things for you, or they might help you out, or you could eventually get them to team up with you to do certain things, or they could go to war with you, just depending on what actions you take.
There's only 3 of us
throughout all of this.
Can't go to war.
Well,
there could be more to our
gang.
faction than just
you're gonna have a whole faction. Eventually, if you ever make it up to like tier 3, then you're gonna have like 30 people or something like that.
Whoa.
Yeah. So they are tier 4. The next tier 4 is going to be the Favor Falls Gambling Commission. Is a large faction within the city. It runs the Favor Falls Casino, which was rebuilt, and the horse tracks. It also owns numerous gambling salons around the city. They are the #1 gambling vice purveyor. Will actively and aggressively collect debts, and anyone else who's trying to sell gambling throughout the city, they will aggressively hunt down. We got the Durham Falls Longshoremen's Association. They work the docks and the shipyard. They're a labor union of dock workers and ship hands. They control all maritime access due to the necessary and particularly dangerous work of working in and around the water. These people are not to be trifled with, known to accept bribes from smugglers. So if you're looking at, getting into the smuggling industry, these would be good guys to have on your side. There's the city guard. These are the blue coats. They protect the mayor's interests, but are independently operated by Chief Landon Barrow. They can be found all over town. Occasionally, they'll make their way into St. Helena's just to kind of, swing their dick around, but they tend to stay out of there.
Did you say they were independently owned and operated?
Well, they're funded. They're owned by the city, but they are an independent faction, and this is a tier 3 faction, by the way.
Are they the first tier 3 faction that you told us?
They're the
about?
first tier 3 faction. Okay. Yeah. The Longshoremen's Union is stronger than the city guard, basically. Just so you have an idea of the world we live in.
They're funded by who?
They're funded by the city. They're funded by tax dollars.
Okay.
And they protect specifically the mayor's interests, but they are operated by basically a police chief.
Okay.
Which is an appointed position. And these are your beat cops. They're easily bribed. But they do typically guard city assets. So if you were to ever, have a heist that is going to hurt the city in any way, these are going to be the people that you would have to deal with. You have the Power Workers Union, another tier 3. They're a labor union a labor union of utility workers. They control the power grid, which is huge deal. If the power grid goes down, that gate goes down, the entire city goes down.
Can or can't bribe?
Potentially. I think they have some pretty good union benefits. So they would be tough to bribe, and I think it's such an important job that I think
you
you'd
never
have to
know
have
when you might
really
need to get
good.
some power to get turned off somewhere. You'd have
to have some pretty good incentive for them. But they, everybody's got a price, right?
That's what I was hoping.
You have the Golden Claw, and they're located in Eaglewood, right next to Lil Dayun. They are a well-connected mafia-type organization. They're assassins. They're known mostly for hit jobs. You have the Crow's Feet, located in Clapton. They're hawkers. They control the flow of illicit substances through the cities. These are drug dealers. They don't tolerate competition. Anyone who is caught, or if they find out that you are competing with them, they will levy a tax on you of 1 coin per score. So that's if you acquire heat, which we'll talk about a little bit later. There's the Merchants Guild in the Northern Merchant District. This is our first tier 2. They are a band of merchants attempting to take control of the Merchants District from the billhooks to protect their financial interests. Donations are appreciated. They're basically just a bunch of shopkeepers who are tired of being run by a gang. So they're banding together, and they're in an active war in the Merchant District to try to take the territory back. The billhooks are the extortion gang that has been extorting the local merchants in the district, and they control the south side currently. They do apply a sales tax on all items purchased in that territory. So if you were to go there to buy something, there would be additional tax on that.
We don't like them. I don't like them.
Well, maybe. You don't know. You guys don't have any money, so you have no reason to have ever gone to the I mean, yeah, you probably have at some point in your lives, but currently, there's the Old Guard, and this is we're down to tier 2s. They're a bunch of old war vets who hang out at the old VA hospital up on the hill. In the Upper Hills district, back behind High Point. They are a mercenary organization. There's more than meets the eye with them. They do accept mercenary contracts, but it's basically just a bunch of grizzled old war vets who sit around and talk shit. You have the Order of Nod, who control most of Old Town. They're an order of witches, presumably communing with aberrations. The Soul Wardens are often attacked on sight when operating in this district. Supernatural activity is likely there. There's Stokes Croft, which, like I said earlier, is the farm that operates in the northern side. It's subsidized by the mayor, controls the vast majority of the city's food supply, which goes directly to the mayor and the city elites, and then some is distributed to certain parts of the populace. It has its own private security force, and they keep mostly to themselves. Then you have the Barrow Boys, which is the first tier 1 faction. They're former city guards, retired or fired for various reasons, and they're basically a vigilante arm of the city guard. It's rumored that they report directly to Chief Landon Barrow, but they don't have to follow the rules of the city guard. Basically just a private detectives organization at this point. Then within St. Helena's, there are several smaller factions just within this district. So you have the Khans that are a tier 2 faction. They are the current kingpins of St. Helena's. They control the district. They are an old wasteland tribal group who have made their ways into town, and are known for extortion. They basically have strong-armed their way to the top here, and they demand a 2-coin tax on all scores. So just a base, so far you're paying 3 coin on every score that you make, just to operate within the district, and 1 coin per week as a tax. So just so you kind of know what kind of money you need to make in order to do this. Other factions are not happy about it. So they are in an active war with Red Dawn, another tier 1 or is a tier 1 organization. It's officially listed as a religious organization.
We're tier 2, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So Red Dawn are trying to take them down. They're officially listed as a religious organization. They're known for kidnapping and sacrifices. Their motives are pretty secretive. They have seemingly little interest in money, but they are fighting for control of the district because the Khans are extorting them, and they are just trying to keep to themselves, man. You have the Press Gang, which is a group of sailors who are pressing the locals to join Leviathan hunter ships. They're essentially bravos who are just going and beating people up if they're not joining the crews. You have the Lost Ones, just an up-and-coming gang in St. Helena's. They have moved into a piece of turf on the next block over from you guys. So that is something that, you may want to keep an eye on, or even go ahead and just nip in the bud if you want to take that turf for yourself. They're extorting some local bodegas and trying to make a name for themselves. And rumor has it that they've been working and doing some odd jobs for the cons. So that's something to keep in mind too. There's the Newsies. It's a newly formed journalists and writers guild. The newspaper is still there. Durham Falls Daily is still there. But the writers are currently on strike.
You've immortalized your character, haven't you?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, no, he's not there anymore.
No, he's not there, but there's a statue of him in the building or something. Or a plaque.
No, there's not a statue. There's a plaque.
Yeah. I knew it.
He was the best writer they ever had. So they write the city's news. It will make news from the city, from around the city, a little more difficult to obtain while they are striking. Also, there are some obvious good things that can come from knowing a journalist. So there's that. There's the New Kids on the Block. It's a newly formed game, relatively unknown. You don't know anything about them yet. And
are they five kids from Dorchester?
Dorchester.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They're pretty new. And then there are the St. Helena Citizens. So this isn't a gang per se. This is just going to be a gauge of
the rest,
how the populace reacts to your actions. And I'm going to assign a value to that, and just depending on your interactions with other gangs and with the general public, and it could help you or hurt you later on. The status levels you can have, you're starting out with 0 for all of these people. +1, they can be helpful. +2, they're friendly, and +3, they're allies. -1, they're interfering. -2, they're hostile, and -3, they're at war. So that's Blades in the Dark does a pretty good job of creating a system where all of these factions kind of are have their own motives, and depending on what you do, it's going to help or hurt your relationship with these different factions. So there's a lot going on there. Obviously, we're not going to be dealing with most of those from the very beginning. You're kind of starting out in St. Helena's, and you're going to be hanging out with these guys for the most part, and doing that from the very beginning. But there's plenty to do. This is a sandbox world that I've made for you guys. I don't have a overarching story for this yet. This is something that I think you guys have to kind of decide where you want to take it. And the whole world is open to you. Some things you're not going to be able to do right away because of your gang's level. Like, you don't have a chance in hell at taking on the mayor where you're at right now. Like, you will die immediately, no matter how good your plan is. It will not work. So you kind of have to work from where you're at to gain the experience necessary to grow your tier. So I guess on that, we can kind of start. Do you guys have an idea of what kind of playbooks you want to play?
So I think I would like to be a cutter.
Okay.
That is as far as I have made it.
Okay.
That's the one that seems the most. It was between a cutter or a hound. Like, that's those are where I like to play. Like that's my style of play. I'm not a subterfuge. I'm not stealthy. I'm muscle. That's my approach.
Okay. Well, so start out, read the descriptions for us for Cutter and then for Hound, and then kind of tell me what you like about each one of those.
So cutters are intimidating fighters. So to me, that's like
It says in the character creation on the play in the actual book, it says cutters are good at winning fights with violence and with intimidation. Play a cutter if you want to get your way.
so yeah, that sounds about right. Hounds are deadly sharpshooters and trackers, so those seem like more like not in the mix per se, like they're not in the thick of it, they're on like the outer edges, just they sound like more of a support combat.
This one says hounds are good at tracking things down and also long distance combat. Play a hound if you want to choose your battles.
No.
Yeah. So like a hound would be more kind of like skirmishing, that's going to be your long distance, you're going to be using a lot more of the hunting rolls for some long distance shots, or for, more guerrilla tactics, some hit and run type tactics in those kind of fights, or for tracking, for finding things. The cutter's definitely going to be your more straight on, merc type build, like strong, forward, very, very to the point.
The cutter to me seems more like the person, like if you walk into a district, they're like one of the first people that'll come and be like, hey, what are you looking for? What are you doing here? Like kind of just the intimidation factor right away.
Yeah. If you're there to kind of intimidate people, then that would be kind of if you see somebody you don't know and you're wondering why the hell they're there and you don't want them to be there, then that kind of would be you going up like, hey, who the fuck are you?
Yep. That's what I feel I would like to play. So I would like to play a cutter.
Okay, cool. So we'll go with you first. Step 1 is choose a playbook. Step 2, choose a heritage. So as far as heritages go, there are some heritages in the book, and I think we're gonna kind of pick from that, but I want to take those and see how they apply to Vrist. So for instance, the first heritage listed on here,
what page is that on so I can get in there?
53.
So 53 on the book. Yeah. So the first heritage is Akoros. It's the largest and most industrialized land in the Imperium, and is home to the capital city as well as Duskfall itself. They're known as a diverse conglomeration of cultures that have grown together in close proximity for centuries, somewhat like Europe. I would say that is probably most like Durham Falls. So your background would be you're from Durham Falls, you grew up in Durham Falls. And we can kind of take that. Honestly, I don't think you get any kind of
you don't
get any kind of mechanic from it. So
it's just to help with your background stuff.
Yeah, so pick a place from Vrist that you want to be from and kind of how that ties in and how you got here.
Also,
and we can talk about that.
Let's talk about how that wherever you're from in Vrist changed over the 700 years too.
Yeah. And that's one of the things about this game. This is going to be a lot like Monster of the Week in that the game is a conversation. Like it's not a I'm not gonna be like railroading you guys into anything. Like I said, this is a sandbox, so it's up to you guys what you kind of want to do with it. But each kind of decision that we make is going to be a conversation back and forth. Like, hey, I want to do this, and I might ask you some questions. Like, hey, well, how do you think that affects this? How do you think this would go about? But for the most part, as long as it's not a game breaking or directly against the rules, we should be able to do it. There may be a role for it, but we should be able to do it.
Okay. What's next?
So
I think I would like to be from Kerrigan.
Kerrigan, okay.
I was also gonna say that I was from Kerrigan.
Yeah.
I had an idea if you want to talk about it. So Kerrigan in D&D Vrist in Old Vrist, Kerrigan was the capital, like the capital city of the continent, and it's run by a bunch of different clans, like factions now would be, and the one main it's just a bigger Aston Springs. Remember how we talked about how like everyone had a fucking different clan they had to go and talk to? There was the Carpenters gang, there was all these other places. It's just a bigger version of that. So I'm thinking that like Kerrigan, the clans just started warring, and there was just too much war going on between the clans that Kerrigan got destroyed, and everyone, like most of the citizens, became refugees and had to move. And so like there was just the downfall of Kerrigan, and now with all of the crazy shit going on with the darkness and whatnot, there's not many places to go to.
That was also for a long time until he was killed, home of the necromancer. That was where he first struck. That was where the ritual was performed. And that was the source of the dark magic for a very long time.
So I think maybe being like the families were like refugees that had, like, your great grandparents were refugees of Kerrigan. They had to move because the warring clans and the necromancer and all that stuff happened.
I like that.
Because that was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, Kerrigan, like the biggest city in Vrist just gets destroyed because of the clans and the necromancer and all this shit happens. That's cool. Yeah. And our families became refugees because of it.
Yeah. Cool. So you were refugees. You made your way here. You probably been here for a while then, because that would have fallen some time ago.
Yeah. We're like, we're offspring of the refugees.
It also would have taken probably years to migrate to Durham Falls. Considering the state of the world, you probably had to jump around from city to city and find safe passage through the void in order to eventually get there, spending probably a couple years at a time in different cities. So you probably have a little bit of a, I wouldn't say cultured as much as worldly background. You have seen a lot of different places and people, considering a world where you're pretty much cut off from everything else. You've certainly seen more different kinds of people than someone who's only ever lived in Durham Falls. Cool. So next you'll choose a background. It's going to be on page 54. Your character's background describes what they did before they joined the crew. Choose one of the general background options from the list on the playbook, or we can make one up.
I'm going to probably go with military on that.
Military? Okay. Yeah. So there have been throughout the years a bunch of different basically warlords fighting for territory and fighting for control of cities. So there's been plenty of opportunity to join one of these along your way to migrating to Durham Falls. Durham Falls has been relatively peaceful for the last 30 years or so. The last big war was when they fought what was the northern? Oh, thanks so much for the sub there, D20 Dice Goblin. The for 6 months. Nice. Yeah, thanks so much.
Holy
That's
fuck.
awesome. And the gifts, yo, that's awesome.
6 months in advance.
That's really cool.
Holy fuck.
Thank you so much. That's so cool. That is so cool of you. Welcome in. And thanks so much for that. We're just getting into this thing.
Right, Tater? Holy
shit. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so where was I? You would have had plenty of opportunity to be in the military at some point. The last war that Durham Falls saw was a territory dispute between one of the cities kind of just north of them. And they essentially wiped them out and are using that as a mining complex now. Yeah, cool. So military. So next you are going to assign 4 action dots. So you're gonna take your playbook and
give it a couple dots, baby.
Give it a couple dots. So your playbook is gonna have some dots already assigned. You can't start with any single rating being higher than 2.
Yeah.
So you can assign those 4 action dots anywhere as long as you don't have more than 2 in one rating.
So that would be insight, prowess, and resolve are my actions.
Let me
on the right hand
if
side.
It has
this up real quick.
Say that again, because if it already has 2 on it, you can't add any at all.
Correct.
Because
they're already filled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you would have to add those to different things.
Okay.
Because like it looks like the cutter already has 2 in the prowess section. It has 2 dots in skirmish.
Yep.
And in the resolve section, it has 1 dot in command. So those are my 3 that are assigned just from the cutter, and then I get 4 after that, if I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah. So So it's going to be, you're going to pick your individual actions, which would be hunt, study, survey, tinker, finesse, prowl, skirmish, wreck, attune, command, consort, or sway. So like for you start with 2 in skirmish,
and 1 in command.
And 1 in command. Yeah. So you're gonna assign those just kind of depending on how you want to build that character out, and then you're gonna pick a special ability after that.
Did you see what it says about your action dots? Put 1 dot in an action that you feel reflects your character's heritage. And put 1 dot in any action that you feel reflects your character's background.
Oh yeah.
And assign 2 more dots anywhere you please.
Hey, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, one that reflects your heritage. I do like that. I missed that. Well, I didn't miss it. I just kind of forgot it was there.
I'm reading this all for the first time, so when I see stuff, I'm like, oh, he didn't say that.
Well, and I've read through this a couple of times over the last several months, but also I'm writing another game at the same time.
Yeah.
So just kind of getting through this. Also, anyone who's watching, this is all of our very first time playing this game. So bear with us if we miss anything.
I would say I probably would have 1 finesse because I'm from Kerrigan and they seemed like they were like the high up families. So you had to probably have some sort of like etiquette in some way. So you'd have to have tact or finesse in order to deal with anything.
So that would be probably
Sway.
one of your resolve
Sway.
things instead. I would say
Okay.
consort or sway. Sway is more trying to. That's more akin to
Like a
a deception roll.
persuasive. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
yeah, or consort would be if you're trying to use criminal lines of communication to try to sway groups of people, kind of. So basically, if you're talking to if you're talking to like a contact you have, trying to get information out of them or to try to convince them to do something, that's more of a consort type role. But your sway is going to be more of lying or persuasion.
Okay.
And then command, I would say you could use that heritage dot in any of those three based on what you say there. Yeah, finesse is more of a dex roll.
Okay. So prowess is probably more of combat oriented rather than
Yeah.
resolve, which
More,
is more
yeah,
like
it's more body strength stuff.
Prowess is your strength and your
okay.
and your dex, basically.
So then I would say probably I would have one in sway being from Kerrigan. I'm able to use my words.
Yeah, that can be your heritage dot. Your background dot with the military, I'd say probably could
rec.
go anywhere in prowess. Yeah, rec. So rec is specifically for like destroying property, destroying objects.
Okay.
Not so much for fighting people. Skirmish is going to be for fighting people. Prowl is your sneaking around. And
I've already established I'm not sneaky.
Yeah. Finesse is going to be throwing objects, your ability to dodge out of the way of stuff, that sort of thing.
So I will assign my one from my background into rec and then my other two into finesse.
Okay, cool. Up next, you've got your special ability. So those are going to be in the middle of your sheet there. You can pick one of those.
Or you may expend your special armor to reduce harm from an attack in combat or to push yourself during fight. That's a maybe. Bodyguard when you protect a teammate. Okay, take +1d to your resistance. I thought it said plus HD, and I was like, I don't know what HD is. I thought we were
plus
only
1d. So if you guys haven't caught it, the way rolls are going to work, and you keep reading through those yourself on talking this, but the way rolls are going to work, you're going to roll d6s, a minimum of 1 at disadvantage. So if you have no dots in a skill, then when you roll that, you're going to roll at disadvantage. You're going to take 2d6, roll that, take the lower one. If you have 1 dot, then you roll 1. 2 dots, you roll 2. You can also get plus or minus for various different reasons. But basically, you want to play into those skills as best you can. You want to get a 6. If you get a 6 out of any of the dice that you roll, what you want to do works. It goes off perfectly. If you get 2 6s, it's a critical. If you get a 4 or 5, then it's a mixed success. So the vast majority of your rolls are going to be a mixed success. So that's kind of one of the kind of aspects of this game. Like, you guys are going to try to do a lot of things, and a lot of it's not going to work. So, you're going to feel like a lot of times that it's a struggle, because it is. I think this game is all about kind of overcoming struggles and finding ways to overcome those struggles. So that's kind of a mixed success. There will be some consequence to that action that you take, which a lot like the other kind of apocalypse world type systems. Those mixed successes are the bulk of kind of the rolls that you're going to get. It's just the average of the dice. Yeah.
My special ability, I chose not to be trifled with.
Hey, that's a good one. Yeah. So not to be trifled with. Where's that on here?
You can push yourself to do one of the following: perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman, or engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat. I assume that means by myself.
Yeah. You can basically take on a few people by yourself at once and hold them off. You still have to make rolls for your attacks, and you can absolutely still kind of take harm. But whereas anybody else would have to make individual actions to attack one person, then you can make an individual action to attack multiple people at once. Hey, yo, thanks for the follow, the Grumble Cakes. Welcome in. Yeah, so yeah, that's a cool one to take as a cutter. You're basically an enforcer of the group. Cool.
That's kind of what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to be like, I just want to be the guy who's like, hey, don't fuck with my friends.
Right.
I'll kill you.
So you're going to choose a close friend and a rival. So on your playbook, let's see, it has examples of dangerous friends and rivals. And we're basically just going to use these as narrative plot hooks for you down the line. So choose a close friend and basically what they do. You can choose one from that list, or we can, chat about it and figure out, what you want to do with that instead.
Zoom in a little more.
And while he's reading that, have you guys kind of been thinking about what you guys were?
Where's the list of close friends thing?
It's on your playbook page in the book. So like his for Cutter is on page 61, and then the playbooks are after that in the book. I don't think it'll show up on your PDF sheet. Yeah, no, it's not on your PDF sheet. You'll have to look in the book. Yeah. Like for instance,
where it says
one is
clever friends, shady friends, deadly friends.
Yeah. So there's going to be, you're going to have different, different things on there. So like his first one says Marlene, a pugilist, perhaps a pit fighter down at the docks, or a boxing coach who trained you. This would just be a contact you kind of have throughout the city that may come into play at some point. You could use them as a narrative point, or even to help you out later on. Or if they're a rival, they may come in to hurt you later on.
I actually like Race the Extortionist. After reading it, I would rather have them as a friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can pick Grace, or like I said, if you wanted to do something not directly on the list, then you could do that too. So you got Grace as a friend, and you'll need to pick a rival too. And be sure to put that on your character sheet on the notes, because you guys are going to send me all these just so I can, use them as a writing tool. After that, we're just going to choose a vice, and then record a name and alias and kind of what you look like. And you guys can, I think after we all make our characters, we'll take a quick break to give you guys a second to figure out what your characters look like. and then we'll come back and kind of build the gang from there, if you guys are all right with that. And then loadout is just going to be kind of on a case-by-case basis. We'll go over that a little bit more, but basically the way your loadouts work, your items, you can have any item that's on your character sheet, but you have to tell me before a score what your loadout is. So basically a light load is 1 to 3 items. And you're going to be faster, less conspicuous. You basically look like a normal citizen. You can blend in with citizens. If you take 4 to 5 items, then you have a normal load, and you're going to look like a scoundrel who's ready for trouble. So, the guards might see you and notice that you're a criminal. If you've got, 4 or 5 items on you that look like you're ready for a score. 6 load is heavy. You're going to be a little slower. And you look like an operative on a mission. That's absolutely going to get you stopped in the street by somebody if they notice you. And then 7 to 9, you're encumbered. You can't do anything except move very slowly. So you can haul stuff around that way, but you can't really do much else. But I thought that was a really cool mechanic that they brought into it. You can have anything you want. You just got to tell me how many things you're carrying on you.
Okay. So I went with Grace as my friend, and I'm keeping Sawtooth as my rival because many of my friends have died from him being terrible at his job.
Yeah, just a bad doctor. Yeah.
He's just a bad doctor in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and so it says a physiker on there, which is just this game's lore's
Medic.
version of a medic. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So now you need to choose a vice. So we can pick from the list. There's faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, or weird. We could also probably come up with something if you don't see anything specific on there. But this is a mechanic. This is how you're going to relieve stress. One of the mechanics of the game is you can push yourself, which you have to do in order to use your not to be trifled with skill. You have to push yourself, which means you get an extra die on your roll. But you take 1 stress for it. So it's a trade-off, and you've got a basically a stress meter, and once you get up to the top of that, you take a trauma, which permanently affects your character. So it's not ideal, not something you want to. It's something you want to try to avoid if you can. But in order to take away stress, you're going to indulge in your vice. You also have to be careful not to overindulge, because basically when you indulge in your vice, you're going to roll the number of dice of your lowest skill rating and take the lowest. I think I'll have to double check that. We'll reiterate those once we have our first vice rolls. But you're going to roll, and if you hit over the amount of stress that you have, then you've overindulged, and there are mechanical consequences to that. So think about that. It's also going to be, a narrative hook. I think for us, whatever your vice ends up being, is going to be something that is going to introduce some new characters, and it's going to be something that you will have to contend with as a character at some point in the game.
I'm gonna go with obligation.
Obligation. Okay, you're devoted to a family, a cause, an organization, or a charity. What's your devotion? What are you devoted to?
Probably to family. I would say I was
Okay.
now so far in the future, the family is no longer a high name, but the family name used to be like high up there. So like probably royalty almost, or very close to royalty. And I guess I want to bring my family's name back into that. Like, so if like something besmirches the family name or something like that, I guess I would defend it at all costs.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that necessarily.
How would you use that as a vice, basically? How would that be an addiction, basically? Not necessarily. I guess it wouldn't really be an addiction, but it would be something that. How could you overindulge in it?
I think it would be like I would go out of my way. So like maybe if I'm like, yeah, see that's now
I could almost see it as what if you had like a family member, like an elderly grandmother or something that you go to like help out and do things for.
Yeah.
And you know that could potentially get you into some trouble if you some of the things that happen when you overindulge, or you could take heat, or you could go into a stupor, or you could have a random negative encounter. I feel like that's something you could run into some issues with by doing that, depending on the situation.
I like that.
Okay.
I think that would cause, if it's something that could give the chance to cause a problem, which I assume is what helps the narrative of this game. So
yeah, narratively too, like you have this obligation to whoever that family member is. And I think long and hard about that and write that down and put that on your character sheet, and you can send it to me. We won't get into it tonight, but you can write that and have it on your character sheet kind of by the end of the night when you send it to me.
I think I got it. Yeah.
Okay. And then record your name, alias, and look. So that's it. You've made your character. You'll want to look through it and look at your experience triggers. Just so you know, each playbook has some different experience triggers. So like for the cutter, every time you roll a desperate action, if this goes for anyone, every time you roll a desperate action, you can mark XP in that action's attribute. And then at the end of each session, for each item below, you can mark 1 XP in your playbook or an attribute, or 2 XP if that item occurred multiple times. So for you, it's you addressed a challenge with violence or coercion. You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, or you struggled with issues from your vice or traumas during the session. So any of those can give you experience. And then for your XP on the action attributes, those are your insight, prowess, resolve. Once you get full XP on those, you can level those up and add another dot to those actions, or to those attributes. So that's kind of how that works. And as far as like the desperate actions, every roll that you make is going to be assigned, and we're going to have conversations about these and kind of figure out what each one of them is, but it's going to be assigned either it's going to be assigned a position. So it's either going to be controlled, which is just a golden opportunity. This is your perfect chance. This is something that you're set up for success. You've planned for this. You the way I'm going to look at this, if this is something that you could do more than once without causing an issue, then we can call that controlled for the most part, most of the time. Risky is going to be your standard setting on positioning. Pretty much everything you do is going to be a risky action. So you're acting under duress, you're taking a chance, any kind of that is going to be risky. Desperate is when you're in serious trouble, you're making a desperate attempt, you're overreaching above your means or your capabilities, you're attempting a very dangerous maneuver. That's going to be a desperate position. That's when you can mark your experience on it. But these are also going to control kind of the outcome of what's going to happen. Each roll is also going to be have an effect level at the end of it, which is either going to be limited, standard, or great. So basically, this is just describing how much effect your action is going to have in that moment. And that's something that I think as we get to playing, we'll kind of talk that out a little bit more and get used to how that works. Any questions? One of the things that John Harper has to say about making the characters is play your characters like you're driving a stolen car. These characters are meant to be risky characters. These are scoundrels. These are
fast
criminals.
and loose.
Fast and loose. They are trying to work above their means. They are trying to reach their goals. They are trying to build this criminal organization in a very dangerous world. There is a good chance that
as fast as possible,
your characters could get arrested. There is an incarceration mechanic in the game. There is a good chance that your characters could die. So, play it fast and loose. We can make another character. Once we get a couple of these made, shouldn't be too hard to throw one of these together. I think I really like that. When I first heard that, I think that's one of the things that really sold me on this game was it's fast and loose. Drive it like you stole it. So, how are the other two of you doing? Do you have ideas on what you want to do?
I think I have a character ready. I just want to make sure that Knocka didn't pick the same class as me.
I hope not.
What'd you pick?
What are you thinking, Knocka? Yeah.
I think I'm going to be a whisper.
Sweet.
Nice.
Me
All
too.
right,
Fuck.
all right.
What, really?
No.
What so what are you gonna do with yours, Bendies?
I want to be a leech.
A leech, cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a cool one.
Sounds
kind of
fun.
an alchemist, or
I want to be more. I think I'm going to try to be more of a techie than an alchemist. It's going to be more flavor for me to be. I'm gonna basically it's going to be the alchemist, but I'm going to use more. I'm trying to make it flavored as a techie, like more. Tech.
So there is a certain level of technology. Think of it as almost a steampunky kind of level of technology.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
There is electricity, but there's not going to be cell phones or anything like that. And the electricity is mostly reserved for the gates and the super elite. You guys are using candles to light your little hut right now. And it doesn't have to be a hut. I just did that for narrative purposes. Cool. If you guys have a different idea of where you want your lair to be, then we can also do that.
Do cell phones exist in this
no
time? Okay. So we're still like okay.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out like what era we're from. Like what?
Yeah,
where
I
we
mean,
are in time.
there's no cell phones. I could probably do some like walkie-talkies.
There
We
are
can figure out
there
some sort
okay.
of
There was television
um.
in Vrist.
Okay.
That's canon. There was television
Hey,
in Vrist.
okay. Well, I would
It could have been a
say
technology that
It was
doesn't exist
magic.
anymore.
It was magic.
yeah. So and that said too, one
What?
important difference is going to be there's not really magic in this world. The magic left with the gods. The magic that there is tied in closely to rituals and the dead, and dark magic, more so than anything else. You can commune with spirits. You can use those spirits to your advantage if you choose one of the playbooks that allows you to do that, or if you just roll well enough trying to do that, you could also do that. But magic in the sense of what you know it in D&D is not really going to be a thing here.
No, it was just I made image boxes for them to have the television show of Best Chef.
So I think that magic wouldn't exist, and I don't think that I would say there's radio in this world. But I don't think television broadcasting would be a. There's theater. The casino has a little theater in it, but I don't think television broadcasting would be a priority for anybody.
Do they have slots at the casino? So
Absolutely,
they must have power there.
Oh yeah. The casino has power for sure. Yeah, the casino is probably the first place to get back power if there's ever any kind of power outage too. Aside from the gates, the fences would be the first place, and then the casino would probably take priority even over the mayor. I mean, that's how they placate the public. It is not the casino that it once was either. It is much more depressing, I would say. I mean, you're talking people pissing themselves at the slot machines. You've got
I mean, that happens in real life.
Right. Yeah. But usually security leads
so
them
it's
out.
Just 2023.
Yeah. I mean, this is a much darker version of, I think, the Vrist that you guys know. Yeah. Okay. So you want to play Leech? What heritage are you thinking?
I'm doing Kerrigan.
Kerrigan? Okay. Yeah. Same kind of thing. So
yeah, have some like worldly info. I know a little bit about what happens outside.
So what action dot do you want to take with that?
Oh, I'm gonna use also sway.
Okay.
My sway's a little different. I grew up in Kerrigan, or I have family that grew up in Kerrigan, so I kind of know how to talk to the higher ups a little bit. So I feel like that's the sway. I was like a urchin. I lived on the streets of Kerrigan, or my family lived in the streets of Kerrigan. When we became refugees of Kerrigan, we went to Durham Falls and became more street urchins, living on the streets. And I grew up in the streets of Durham Falls, creating things as I went.
Cool.
So I picked sway, and then for my background, I picked wreck.
Okay. What background?
My background is underworld.
Underworld. Okay. Yeah. As an urchin, you kind of fell into. This is not your first gang.
I'm just trying to survive.
This is probably your first time starting a gang. I think the three of you have just kind of. I think narratively, you probably just made the decision to kind of join up and try to start this gang. Depending on what we end up picking with the gang, it may just be the three of you, or you may have one other person. But we'll talk about that when we get to the gang book. So cool. Yeah, assign your other action dots and then choose a special ability.
My other action dots, I took Prowl. So put 2
Cool.
into Prowl.
Gotcha.
So now I can Sneaky. And then what was the next one?
Sneaky. Your special ability.
Special ability, I took Alchemist. When you invent or craft a creation with alchemical features, take 1 plus D to your roll, and you begin with 1 special formula you already know. I was just looking at those right now. Some sample ones are Devil Root, Dream Essence, Drift Oil, Ghost Oil, Heart Calm, Life Essence, Sight Potion, Thought Essence, or Vitality Potion. I don't know if you had anything that was Durham Falls related that I could use.
Yeah, I think that's something maybe we can come up with later. I don't have anything directly right now. But if you want to take one of those off the list, or if you have an idea for something that you would want,
yeah, I'll take one off the list now, and maybe I'll do some.
We can workshop that. That's not necessarily set in stone until we start using it. So yeah, we can workshop that for sure. Yeah, and that's also.
I'll take Dream Essence for right now.
Okay, read that description for me, just because I'm not on that page right now.
It's it says 11/1. I don't know what that means. Or II/1.
What page is that on?
227. It's in parentheses. II/1 Arcane. A distillation of a vivid lucid dream, perfectly recreated for the user. It's rare.
Oh yeah. So I mean, that's something you could easily sell for a profit. And if you're, in the business of making those sort of things, that's basically going to be considered an illicit drug. I will say, getting caught up in that, you would have the Hawker faction. Which one? Crow's Feet. The Crow's Feet could be a little bit pissed off about you selling too much of that, if they were to find out you were doing it. So that may be something to keep in mind with that. But yeah, that's future use problem, right?
Right. Who knows what's going to happen? I haven't sold it yet.
You haven't sold it yet. Right now, you just know how to make it.
Yep. So cool. It's a old recipe passed down from my Mima.
Your Mima who also made LSD.
Yeah, we all lived on the streets together. What do you expect?
It's an old family of LSD chemists. Cool. All right. Choose a close friend and a rival.
All right. So I picked Stasia, an apothecary. She cool. I wrote a little backstory about why me and her are good friends.
Okay.
It's cool. I have an ongoing tab with her. Whenever I need to get stuff, I go to her shop. She gives me shit, and I walk out with like a little baggie of the stuff that I need. And she takes care of me like a loving mother. I don't know why. She's always just loved me. But that's my little backstory for her.
Yeah, and we'll do a scene with her at some point.
And then my enemy, or whatever, my not so close friend, is Jewel, the blood dealer.
Okay.
She I gave her some information, and it ended up being bad information, and she lost a lot of coin. And ever since then, she's never wanted to deal with me ever again.
Okay. I'll say she definitely has some ties to the Crow's Feet. It's not necessarily affecting your relationship with them yet, but it could at some point.
That's fine. Just that I just figured that would be a good little backstory, little information for you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, be sure to put that on your character sheet so I can use that for writing later. And then choose a vice.
Yeah, I was looking at those.
We have faith, gambling, luxury, obligation,
it was gonna be
pleasure, stupor.
It was gonna be, what's the one after stupor? I think that was the one I was gonna pick.
Weird.
Weird.
And that would fit with you. Yeah, just strange experiments and things like that.
Yeah, I'm always finding new things to try make experiments with, and it ends up really I spend too much time. I need to do it though. It's like one of those, it's my vice. It's like,
yeah.
If you need me, if it's something's important, I might be stuck making something and being like, oh, sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. So we'll probably, anytime you guys have to do a vice roll, which can be one of your downtime activities, and we'll go over that after we kind of get the characters all made. But anytime you have to make a vice roll, we'll do a quick scene, just to kind of see what happens with that, and to develop those stories a little bit. So just be thinking with your vice how that's going to work and how you want to develop those stories down the line. Cool. And then record your name, alias, and look. You don't have to tell me any of that stuff now. We'll save that for the actual in-session character introduction.
Cool.
And then Knocka.
So I'm going with Whisper. I want to be a Whisper.
Cool.
Yep. I don't really know what my heritage is. Mostly because I need a list of what they are. Because I assume we're not using what's on the character sheet, right? We're using the
So we're not going to use those. We're going to use Vrist. Backgrounds from Vrist.
Yeah.
So I mean, they both took Kerrigan. I mean, you could be from Durham Falls. You could be from Port Dayun. You could be from I'm trying to think
Aston
of cities.
Springs, Broughton Heights. You could be from Drognad, which is the barbarian area.
Probably not the barbarian area.
You could be from you could be north of the ethereal waters. Like you could just be.
Broughton Heights used to be like a.
That was the magical.
Magic, right?
That was the magical city. Yeah.
Why don't I do that? Why don't I be from Broughton Heights? My heritage.
All right. Now I want to know what happened to Broughton Heights. How did it change over the hundreds of years?
Well, I mean, I don't know, kind of after the magic left the area. There were a few people in the area that could see spirits and like control ghosts and whatnot. Don't really know how. Some people were just born with it. So
okay. Yeah, I think some people probably were just kind of born into it. There's rumors that go around that it may be a mix of demon blood. Somewhere down the line, their family's blood was tainted with demon blood. But there are different ways to kind of also get involved with that. A lot of it is ritual. A lot of it is just knowing the right way to commune with ghosts and spirits, and that's kind of where a lot of it comes from. But yeah, I think the ones that just pop up and no one really knows where it came from, I think there's a rumor kind of circulating like, oh, they were tainted with demon blood.
Plus, I think some people are still, they still remember the stories of Broughton Heights being a really magical place, passed down from stories and stories and stories, and I don't know. I think some people are trying to look in to see what they can do to bring some of that back. Like maybe there's something about Broughton Heights where, they can figure something out and
There's
you
just
know,
there's a small cult that thinks that Broughton Heights and these people who have these whisper capabilities may be the key to getting rid of the void.
yep.
I dig it. I dig
Cool.
it for sure.
Cool.
Cool. So background. What'd you do before this?
I was gonna pick Underworld.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So how did you kind of make your way here? There would have been trade caravans at some point. I believe, if memory serves me correctly, there's a river that runs to Port Dioun from Broughton Heights. Then you could have taken the river route, which would have been the safest route to Port Dioun, and then Dioun, you could have taken Durham River up to Durham Falls,
Yeah, I
which
think
still would have been weeks of travel. But
I wanted to get away a little bit, and because I don't know, sometimes to me, sometimes I feel like being able to communicate with ghosts is kind of a burden that I'm not like super into all the time. I mean, sometimes it's helpful, but other times I'd rather not. So
right,
if I put some distance between me and Broughton Heights, maybe I can kind of chill this out a little bit. But who knows?
right, okay, cool, yeah, cool. So have you already assigned your action dots?
The special abilities or
No, your action dots. So you'll need to pick one action dot that has to do with your background. That's going to be your abilities like hunt, study, survey, tinker. You'll see on your character sheet.
okay, yeah.
Some of those already have some stuff. So like you start with 2 and attune, so you can't add any
Yep.
more to that. But
Okay.
attune is the ability you use to commune with ghosts and spirits.
Okay. How many do I pick?
So you're going to need to assign one based on your heritage. So I would say something based on magic or ghosts. I'd say that would have to be attune, but you can't add any more to attune.
Right.
Maybe study. I'd say you could add one to study because you probably know a good bit about that. Or maybe even
I'd say command.
Command. Yeah. Yeah, you
Yells at the
could go
ghost.
with command. Yeah, because so attune would be used to like talking to ghosts. Command is more like commanding an army or like giving orders to your fellow gang members, things like that.
Right.
But
Probably.
I think you could make an argument that like you had to become good at that. People had looked up to you because of your skills, and you had to, whether you liked it or not, kind of have a leadership role at some point,
right.
In your life.
So I'd say study, command, and how many do I pick? Is there a certain number or?
So your next one has to be assigned based on your background. So underworld, something that you learned, something that you picked up from the underworld.
Skirmish.
So that could be skirmish. Yeah, you learned how to fight.
Yeah, we'll go skirmish.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
And then yeah, the other two can be any of those.
Oh, I picked 2 more.
Yeah, you pick 2 more of any of those.
You can't go above 2
skills. You can't go above 2. So like you can't add any to attune, but you can add any to any of the other ones.
Okay. Probably go with tinker.
Yeah, that's probably a good one to have.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be your fixing things.
Yeah.
Are you putting both into Tinker?
Nope.
Okay. You'll get one more.
What's consort?
Consort would be kind of like using your connections to get things done. So that's more like if you are talking to, if you're dealing with other gangs, trying to convince them to be your allies, or that's more of, I guess, a diplomacy role. This game is going to have a certain amount of diplomacy
Right.
that you're going to have to deal with. So that's going to be where that kind of comes from.
Okay. I guess I could do command again, right? Because it doesn't go over 2.
Yeah, you can do command again.
All right, I'll do that.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, now pick your special ability.
I picked compel.
Compel. Okay.
You can attune to the.
Oh, that's a good one.
You can attune to the ghost field to force a nearby spirit to appear and obey a command you give it. You are not supernaturally terrified by the spirit you summon or compel, though your allies may be.
Cool. Yeah. So be aware, spirits are not going to be in an overabundance. There is a whole faction there that's charged with making sure there are no spirits within city limits. Yep. But they're, every time somebody dies, a new spirit shows up. So there absolutely are spirits within the city that you can take advantage of. And I think, that's going to be a conversation with us, between me and you, where if you want to try to take advantage of a spirit being there, like, hey, are there any spirits in this room? Right. And then we'll talk about it. There might be. There might be a roll to see if you can tell if it's a haunted building, but and then there's going to be other situations where I'm going to throw the ghost at you, but but this is a good diverse kind of group. I really kind of like how this has shaked out with the characters you've made, and I'm really interested to see what kind of playbook you want your gang to have. Cool. So you've got your special ability. Have you chosen friends? A friend and a rival?
Yep. My friend, I chose Quellen. A witch, perhaps a knowledgeable healer, and seer. That's just someone who kind of helped me out with my ability when I was younger. Just because it was for me, it was hard to deal with having that ability. So
right. Yeah,
I ended up finding her, and she kind of helped me deal with that a little bit. And then my enemy is nope. Where'd he go? Oh, Nyrix, a professor ghost.
a possessor ghost.
Oh, sorry, possessor, not professor. Possessor ghost.
It's like, oh, it's a teacher ghost.
He's a ghost that just takes over your body every once in a while.
I've read so many times like that, and I had this image. It's just my dyslexia kicking in. So,
I got you. Yeah.
And I compelled him to do something, or kind of get away from me, and he ended up breaking away from it, and he's hated me ever since. So,
okay, so yeah, that's a personal haunt. Okay,
yes,
cool. Yeah, be sure to put that on your PFD character sheet, just so I have that for later, because I will 100% use that against you.
Nice.
Cool. And we've got choose your vice.
I'm all about pleasure. Like, I like drinking and stuff. So because I'm trying to cope with this burden of a ability. So I like to drink.
You're friggin' what's his name? From DC there. Constantine.
Oh, did I make another Constantine character?
He just drinks a lot because all these ghosts are fucking with him.
I thought he just smoked a lot of cigarettes, and then he got the cancer, and then he didn't have the cancer
Because of ghosts.
because of the devil.
All right. We have our characters created. And I think we will go right into the crew creation. Have you guys thought about what you wanted to do for your crews? For your crew? Big decision. We can always change it later.
I've wanted to be a hawker since you said it the first night when you were talking about crews, and I was like, that was the first thing I thought of when you said it, and it works for my character. So,
yeah, that's absolutely something you guys can do if you're all on board with it. It does. There is a competing faction out there that's I think it's a level 3. It's a level 3 faction, which you wouldn't be able to take them on right now, but you could at some point potentially
the crow's feet.
Also, the crow's feet. Yep. Yeah, and they're tier 3.
And then we have the crews in the St. Helena's that we got to watch out for.
So that's the thing. If you take any heat while you're doing a score, as like a hawker score, anything dealing with illicit substances, you could always hawk other things. Like you could sell stolen merchandise, things like that. But if you do anything with illicit substances, then and you take heat, then they're gonna find out, and they will tax you 1 coin on each score for that. But you don't have to necessarily only do hawker scores while being a hawker crew. You're going to run into some other issues that may require some B&Es, or might require you to extort somebody.
I mean, yeah, we're gonna have
all kinds of different options of things.
We're gonna have to get the stuff to sell the stuff, so there could be missions that involve getting the stuff first. I like this. I like that a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah. So there could be scores that are going to have like sub scores within them.
Do you guys have any ideas? I don't want to. I think I like hawkers. That was the first thing that I heard the first night. I don't know, like 2 months ago when we talked about this.
I think of the 6, either the assassins or the hawkers would be okay with me. I'm not.
I could see assassins.
I don't think we're bravos. Like we're not. I don't think we're just basic thugs.
Yeah, I could see smugglers maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think between the 3 of us, the 3 kind of character we've created, I think assassins, hawkers, and smugglers are our 3 to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like with hawkers and smugglers, there's going to be some crossover between those 2. Like they deal with each other a lot. I think either way, you're going to probably have some dealings down by the docks.
Yeah, I like smugglers, but I don't think we're smugglers. What do you think, Knocker? Hawkers or assassins?
I don't think we have the crew for assassins. Honestly.
Yeah, I think out of all the 3 of us, I think well, so I'm like a silent assassin. I can create like the fucking poisons, and like
you could do poisons.
I can sneak up and drop a poison into someone's drink and then walk away because I took sneak and I'm good at making shit. So like that could be an assassins. And that's why I was like assassins kind of works too. That's what I was thinking. And you can talk to Ghost. You could just be like, hey, why don't you fucking go do this over there, Ghost?
Go possess this man. Yeah. Make him dead.
Make him jump off the house.
Well, I mean,
I suppose you're right.
You could. They could fail.
I mean, we could all fail. There could be a lot of failing.
Could be forever haunted. Again.
Again.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd go with either one now. Oh, Hawker sounds good though.
Hawkers it is.
Yeah, I think Hawkers gives us a chance to like branch out and do a little bit of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not handcuffed to just,
yeah,
right,
being assassins.
Yeah. You have to get the things that you're going to sell too. So, sourcing, you can strong arm robbery, you could, I guess, depending on like what you're trying to sell, there.
Well, I like that it says like
to the shipyard and steal a fucking cargo container somehow.
I like that it says social events, so it's like we could like go to a big event and like be selling stuff to people that under the radar or something like
you could be event planners.
Yeah, dealing the event. Making the events. Yeah,
putting on the events. Yeah. And then doing like different dirty deeds during the events.
Yeah, inviting all of the players.
Yeah, I mean that would be a really, really cool for like a diplomacy centered game if that was the kind of game you wanted to do. Because basically you're just throwing little mini parties where you're putting on a show for all the different factions, and you're
so good.
Like a Tupperware party for thievery and debauchery. I get it.
That would be a great diplomacy side story. If
what's her name from Monster of the Week?
I'd be into that. Like all day, but I don't know how happy with that you guys would be.
I feel like there's a lot of fun, like a lot of stuff could happen there, and who knows? I mean, that could still be a part of it. Once again, we have so much, we could branch off anywhere with this.
Right. Yeah. And like you can always change it later if you decide, oh hey, no, we're just murder hobos.
Yeah.
So like there is some cost to that, and we can cross that bridge when we get there if we end up going that direction. But yeah, cool. So we're gonna go with Hawkers for now. I guess this kind of brings us to so your crew begins with 2 coin, and coin is just a we're not going to deal with like cost of things too much, like your day-to-day stuff, like buying a drink. It's a lot like Monster of the Week. It's just like, yeah, you got a couple bucks in your pocket for spending money. That how much of that you have, as petty cash is going to kind of depend on how many coin you have as a total. So like if you have 1 coin, so like your crew's going to start out with 2 coins. So, that's if you want to use a coin to make sure you guys eat for the next month, then you can do that.
That's like your weekly like tax basically. Wasn't there like a tax or something?
Yeah, so you would have 1 coin per week that you're going to be taxed,
and that would be for living in the city.
Just for living in the city.
All right, and then
to be like protected within the walls of the city, it is 1 gold coin per week.
Okay.
And if you don't have that, you will be expelled from the city. Or imprisoned. So there's that. Yeah, the taxes for existing. Yeah. They gotta fund the gates somehow.
Okay, that's good to know. And so like if we had 2 coin, so say we had 2 coin, we already paid all our stuff off. after all that, we still have 2 coin. That would be considered like being able to eat mac and cheese every night.
Yeah. So there's
and have like
coin.
heat.
So 1 coin is worth roughly a purse full of silver pieces. So this would be considered like a week's wage for 1 coin.
Okay.
2 coins would be a finely made weapon or a week's income for a small business. This is probably about what the bodegas are pulling in on a good week. So 4 coin is a satchel full of silver, about a month's wages. You could probably buy a diamond with that. Then a 6 coins is an exquisite jewel, or worth about a heavy burden of silver pieces. So probably a little lockbox of silver pieces.
Okay.
8 coin, it's a good monthly take for a small business. 10 coin is liquidating a significant asset. Like you could probably sell your used car for 10 coin, or there's no cars in this, but just an idea of kind of where that lies on a monetary value. The coins, you'll each have your own individual kind of wallets of how many coins you keep, and you can put those coins into basically a safe stash. You can put those coins into a stash to basically determine what kind of lifestyle you're going to have after you retire. This is your retirement fund. So
That's amazing.
0 to 10, you retired a poor soul. You're going to end up in the gutter if you have less than 10. You need at least 11 to make a meager living at retirement. Start retiring, or start saving for your retirement now, folks. You need
all the lessons 21 in this game are too
to
close
39,
to home.
right?
Jesus.
21 to 39 for a modest retirement. Or 40 would be a fine, well-appointed. You got your Florida condo and your winter home. Yeah. So that's kind of the idea with this. It's going to be really kind of abstract, especially at first when you don't have any money. You've got your
I was gonna say we're
there.
like in the dumps right now. We need to like we're scrapping at the bottom. We need to pull ourselves out.
You're barely getting by. So there's some urgency there for you guys starting out of figuring out how you're going to. That's also why I added the taxes. The book does say that some of the larger warlord or kingpins might charge a tax or a tithe. So I really wanted to work in, you guys got to get busy if you're going to survive. But yeah. So back to the crew before the tangent.
That's great.
You start out at tier 0. And tier 0 is pretty much just you guys. Tier 0 is typically 1 to 2 people. Tier 1 is a small gang of 3 to 6. Tier 2 is 12 people. Tier 3 is 20 people. Tier 4 is about 40 people. Tier 5 is 80 plus people. So these are the big boys, the movers and shakers of the underworld. And you just the new guys. I can't say the new kids on the block because that's the name of the gang that has moved in next door to you. So
Yeah, we don't have a gang name yet.
Yeah, you guys haven't come up with a name yet. We haven't got.
That's okay.
Here we go. Crew creation. So choose an initial reputation and layer. So you've just formed and you've acquired your layer. I said you were in a small hut, but that's a conversation we can have. So your reputation initially would be ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange. So this is just the buzzword around you guys. What are people describing you as?
Everybody, I'll count to 3 and we'll all say one.
All right, I'll count.
Okay.
1,
Hold on.
2.
Hold on, Vandal.
There we go.
I want Vandal to be able to look at them all.
It's on page 93 of your textbook.
I have 2 in my head, so I'm just going to yell one of them.
And then after that, also be thinking of what kind of layer you want it at. It has to be somewhere in St. Helena's, but we can have a little bit of wiggle room with that. It doesn't have to be a HUD. It could be like a watchtower or like an abandoned apartment building or the back room of a merchant shop. And
Okay.
You good?
We're picking 2.
No, say one. Pick
Say one.
Pick
just
one.
say
I have 2 and I'm just going to say one it's just going to come out of my mouth.
all right. So on 3. Okay.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Savvy.
Ambitious.
Damn it. It's ambitious.
Ambitious. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is this ambitious, scrappy little gang that's forming up. And where are you guys staying at? Where's your home? Well, not necessarily home, but where's your hangout? Where's your
What's St. Helena's like? What's it?
It's mostly slums. If you want a mental image of it, think of like Rio de Janeiro type slums.
Like just lots of buildings.
Buildings on top of buildings.
Lots of buildings stacked on top of each other. And there is a central square that's kind of a merchant area. There are other hawkers out there in St. Helena's, like trying to make their living.
Is there like a church or something we could like have the basement of?
So the only church that I think would be there, I think
Like an
the
abandoned
gods have
church?
been mostly forgotten. The only abandoned church is the temple that the spirit wardens
Oh, that's right.
are there. I mean, you could do like another type of building. You could be like in the basement of a bar, or like you could
I think something we need. I think something that's closed during the nighttime. What about? How about is the newspaper building in St. Helena's?
Yeah, so it's on the northern part of St. Helena's. It is across the street from the district proper. But it's considered a part of the district.
Never
Because
mind.
right behind it,
I just
is
remembered
the
that
power plant.
I just remembered the Newsies they probably have there.
Yeah.
Trying to think of like a cool place that we could have like the basement of or something.
Yeah.
What about on top of a roof? Like we have like a little small building, like think Aladdin. Like we have like this little
Yeah.
shitty like wooden
Yeah,
thing
I mean-
with like drapes and stuff.
I guess the
Or-
watchtower
or-
then.
you know,
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed. You've got like a little safe house on top of one of the buildings there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, so you kind of built this apartment on top of a building, and that can kind of expand later on too as you guys grow. Yeah, all right. So got that covered. Establish your hunting grounds. So the crew is brand new, but you have to choose some small part of the district as your hunting ground. So where do you guys think you're going to kind of do most of your early business? Like, are you going to try to sell in the merchant square? Are you going to try to
I think
sell?
I think trying to hawk outside like the casino.
Ooh,
Like
that's the
there's
big boys.
There's a lot of people around. I just feel like so
There
maybe we can
is.
get the people that are walking in and out.
I think right now you could try to apply for a permit to sell outside the casino, because I think that's something the casino probably sells.
Okay.
Is vending
What
space
about-
outside the casino.
What about like not in the docks, but like the outskirts of the docks? The people have to go by you coming through the.
Okay.
It'd be like on the edge of the buildings before it becomes open.
Yeah.
So there's very little there's no tourism. There's very little
I just figured
incoming traffic. So the people that you would be passing by you there would be mostly the Longshoremen's Union. It'd be mostly dock workers. People there is a lot of unloading cargo there, so you would have some opportunity to steal some stuff there. As far as selling to them, if you can come up with something that they would buy, then that could be an opportunity.
Why don't we try and steal some stuff and then sell it at the merchant district so other people can sell it?
I like
So,
that
like,
idea.
Buy this
Yeah,
product so you can resell it.
Selling it to a fence, yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
All right, yeah. So that sounds like, oh hey, Neon Lich Studios, welcome in. Thanks for the
Hello.
raid. We're just building out our crew here, having that conversation. This is session 0 of our very first Blades in the Dark game. So yeah, this is cool. We're working all this out. Welcome in. Thanks for the raid.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that sounds like a good game plan, and I think we can get into our first score with that probably next week, if that's the direction you guys wanted to go. So that would establish your hunting grounds as down by the docks, which isn't that far.
Down by the dock.
You can probably, it's just outside of St. Helena's, near the merchant district. So if you wanted to try to get in there, but it's near the south side of the merchant district. So if you wanted to get in there to sell any of the stuff there, there would be some higher taxes in that district of town for selling stuff there. And there is a gang that runs that district specifically. Hey, thanks for the follow. Hydrate.
And the hydrate.
And the hydrate.
I'm out of water. That was the last of it.
Coffee counts, right?
There's water in there.
There's water in there.
There's water in there. It's
get
mostly water.
It's water and hot bean juice.
Hot
Yeah,
bean
exactly.
juice.
But yeah, okay. So we can establish that as your hunting grounds. Let's see. Yeah, so it's only the size of about 3 or 4 city blocks. It is an intrusion on someone. So I think the docks themselves, it's the Longshoremen's Union. You're probably going to have to do something to convince the union itself to let you keep hanging out there. Otherwise, they kind of run you off. So how do you kind of convince them to let you, be there without them kind of because there's probably a couple dock workers here and there that have seen you guys kind of skulking around at this point and have kind of noticed what you're trying to do, scoping out what cargo is coming in. What you guys may have even talked to somebody and asked them kind of what they're doing. But what do you guys think about that? And we can say that your first score is going to have something to do with that, if that's what you want to do. If you're not sure how that plays into it yet, we can say that you haven't even worked down there yet. You just want to get in there, and that's where we can kind of start next week, is with a plan to
I think we should do that.
Steal something, if that's the way you want to go. Cool. Yeah. And then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we choose a special ability. So we're going to pull up the Hawkers. And you're even that small. Okay. Special abilities. You
some cool ones.
Yeah. Silver Tongues. Each PC may add +1 action rating to command, consort, or sway, up to a max of 3. Accord. Sometimes friends are as good as territory. You may count up to 3 + 3 faction statuses. Wow, that could be super handy early on. Let's see. The good stuff, your merchandise is exquisite. Product quality is equal to your tier +2. Yeah, so you're just selling the finest of wares.
Did you see the Ghost Market one?
Ritual hard-won experience. You have discovered how to prepare your product for sale to ghosts and or demons. Ooh.
We got a guy that talks to ghosts.
I mean,
they don't pay in coin, though.
You could do that.
What do they pay with?
Yeah, what do they pay with?
Information on how to get in other things.
There are ghosts. They can go through
That's
walls.
Hilarious.
Woo.
Yeah, but they can't carry stuff through walls.
But they can tell us where it is, you dummy.
We've discovered a product that they can use, though. That's crazy. That's so funny.
That could be really interesting if that's the way you guys wanted to go.
Yeah, we could definitely work
with that.
It was such a weird.
Yeah, it'd get into the darker side of it, that's for sure.
High society. It's all about who you know. Take -1 heat during downtime and +1 die to gather information about the city's elite.
That would be a good one if you're gonna do the event planning.
The event planning, yeah.
Yeah.
Hooked. Your gang members use your product.
Yeah, but +1 quality early on could be huge too. might cause some problems for you, but
Yeah.
that doctor could be the difference of just saving your life.
Or we could have a patron.
Patron. Yeah. And just some wealthy donor who just believes in what you're doing.
just a backer. I'm kind of I would be happy with the ghost market. I think that's fucking hilarious. If we don't pick that one, I think Accord is probably the best one.
I think early on, Accord is probably our best bet. I think Ghost Market will come in handy later on, but I think as we're just starting, I think we need something where we're going to be able to make some coin, like kind of quick.
Yeah.
Accord.
I mean, the ghost market
can we
narratively
would
be a lot of fun, but you're not going to get rich off of it.
Can we get more abilities as we go for the crew? Is there updates for the crew?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we could possibly get Ghost Market.
I just kind of assumed that's how
I wanted to make sure, because if not, we would talk about Ghost Market more.
I'd say I don't know if you get another special ability later on. I'll have to look into that. But you get different upgrades.
All right, yeah, let's go with the Accord, because I think that makes sense for us to be able to get kind of through the beginning of like our gang, like learning the streets basically.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one to start out on. Basically just gives you a cheat code for diplomacy in the first little bit of the game.
Yeah.
Right. At least until we, our faction level gets a little higher.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Right.
I think we need to until we upgrade. Yeah.
I do think Ghost Market in the future will be something that we could mess around with.
You may count up to 3 +3 faction statuses you hold as if they are turf. We don't hold any plus faction statuses now, so that wouldn't benefit us right now. That'd be also a later thing.
Accord?
Yes, Accord.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that, I did read that wrong too. I only read half of it first. Yeah. So you could use those as turf, in conjunction with your reputation to level up your crew, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got you.
So you
could get whatever benefit
before we can use those as turf.
Right. Yeah,
Gotcha.
You'd have to ally with someone. So again, that would be really helpful later on in the game with
damn.
And where it says +3 faction
diplomacy.
statuses in bold, I think it has to be a +3 faction status for you to use it.
That's you have to be allied. Yeah, basically you're allied.
I got you.
With these gangs, and they're letting you use their turf. Still,
Ghost Market
could be super helpful if you decide to sell drugs later on.
Yeah.
I guess that just ends it there, huh? Right? We're just doing Ghost Market.
If that's what you wanted to do.
What about the good stuff?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Sell some good stuff.
So we'd get, the quality would have a +2 because their tier is 0.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Oh, that's when we deal with a crew or a faction. So if we're selling to another crew or a faction,
Yeah,
that's when that
that's
would come into play.
yep.
Is it,
Which
okay.
is yeah, that's the most important part.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's where your bigger deals are going to come from. Like you
Okay.
could make a couple coin here and there, selling
Yeah.
stolen items to the public.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of what you're going to be doing, it sounds like, is probably acquiring items.
We're like middlemen right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a good short-term goal for you would be to become a primary fence.
Yeah, I feel like we just need to figure out what our clients want and what the best product is. And I think since we're starting out, we're just going to learn what we can sell and what we can't, basically.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I like starting from zero. Honestly, I think it's a good like learning the game as well as the city.
Right.
Yeah, we'll take the good stuff.
Nice.
All right. So now we're gonna assign crew upgrades. Your crew has 2 upgrades pre-selected. So on the Hawkers, I'm just trying to find those on this character sheet here, or on this crew sheet here.
Be down the bottom right.
Like secure and resolve. Is that right?
Yeah, secure and resolve. So yeah, you have resolve training, and the lair is going to be secure. So basically, your lair is going to be well secured. You're not going to have to worry, at least initially, about other gangs getting in. I don't think anybody really knows where it is. You probably have done a pretty good job of keeping it hidden on a rooftop. And then resolve. You will get, if you use your downtime activity to train and resolve, then you get a bonus to that. I'll have to look up exactly what that is, but that's basically what that means. So you can choose 2 more. You can choose a layer upgrade, quality of equipment upgrade, or cohorts would be people. So you can spend both points to get 1 additional crew member, basically.
I think we should do hawker rigging.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, and so
what about boat?
I will give you this if you can tell me where your, well, I guess, yeah, you can just have a boat at the dock, but it's not going to be like connected to your lair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I didn't think that it would just be there.
It'll be a dinghy,
Yep.
and it would be at the river docks. Absolutely not on the ocean. There's only there's an electric gate at the harbor, so you're not getting in and out into the ocean without security. but
Yeah.
you can probably yeah, you've probably got a dinghy on a little dock on the far edges of the
Well,
the docks.
I'm just throwing that out there. Like that would
If
kind of make
that's
sense.
what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know that we'd be able to find any way to justify it as like a layer upgrade. It would just
okay.
be kind of something you like. You can have it. You would just it would be a few blocks away. It could be a oh shit escape vehicle if that's what you wanted to have. And if you're operating near the docks on a score, it could be potentially super handy. So yeah. Carriage would be another option like that, basically a getaway vehicle if you needed it.
I like that they have specific ones too. That's cool. Yeah, boat's fine with me.
Yep, go with that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense narratively if you guys are working by the docks anyway.
Give us a reason to walk down to the boat.
You don't want to fall in that water.
And so having a boat's a good idea.
Yeah. People don't come back from that.
Oh, good.
That's a good place to hide bodies.
You swim in. It absolutely is. They go right down the waterfall into the ocean.
I've had characters go off that waterfall.
Or if they're not eaten first.
I've had characters go off that water.
So you're taking the boat. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Ooh. So we assign that. All right, so one faction in the city helped you get the upgrade. And you will get a +1 status with them. Or you can spend a coin to get a +2 status with them. So this would be your first ally.
I mean, this
they probably
it would just make sense.
Helped
it would
you
be
get the boat.
The dock workers, right?
Yeah.
Like just
yeah. So you're in good with them, you know them.
That's why we have a boat. We have a slip
you
that
bought
we got.
The boat off of one of the you've got your own slip.
He was like, yeah, I'm upgrading to my own personal little mini yacht. I got this one to sell off. And
this is
do we want to spend a coin to get +2 status with them?
Yes.
I was gonna say, do you think we can
probably not a bad idea to start.
Yeah.
You gotta spend money to make money.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, and based on where we're starting, we could use all the help we can get right now. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a good call. Yeah.
I would say also the dock workers really are pretty high up.
They're actually pretty dope dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a tier 4. Yeah, just for reference, they hold more social power than the city guard.
Yeah. And I've written down that they're very susceptible to bribes, so it just makes sense that we're doing an extra coin for more.
Right. Yeah. You paid off some of them. Yeah, you tossed in a little extra to buy that boat. Yeah, they like it. Cool. And one faction was harmed when you got the upgrade. Take -2 with them or spend a coin for -1. Keep in mind, you only have 2 coins.
I think
now only have 1 coin.
Yes. I think it was the new kids.
We think alike.
I think the new kids on the block are pissed because the lair
we bought the boat before they did.
We bought the boat before they could.
And I ain't scared of 5 kids from Dorchester.
Yeah.
You bought it at auction, and you got in a bidding war with them.
They just
were like-
bought their hovel.
And I don't want to spend a coin.
No.
Yeah, agreed that it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So they will. They are actively hostile towards you.
That's okay.
We're actively hostile towards them.
Bunch of nerds.
From Dorchester.
The dirty Dorch.
Savin Hill,
all right,
dude.
cool. And then choose a favorite contact.
Ooh.
One who is a close friend, longtime ally, partner in
On
crime.
cruise sheet.
One faction is friendly with your contact, so you'd get a +1 status, and one faction is unfriendly with your contact, so you'd get a - status.
Yeah, we just did that, didn't we?
No, this is a different one. This is choosing a contact.
Oh.
So you had your crew upgrades, but that was how you got it. Do you have like, do you know the dockmaster? Do you know like a captain, or do you know a merchant in town? Is there another fence that you've been working with, or
What if
just
our
any
contact was
around?
the guy who keeps the records of the ships on the docks?
The dockmaster?
He's like
Yeah.
the clerk, or the
Yeah.
actual dockmaster.
Well,
What if it's
I
like
mean,
his? What if it's like his assistant, and he's the one that does all the
it's
writing?
it's a low budget.
Yeah. Just the guy who takes the money for
Yeah,
ships that
so-
come in.
Okay, so yeah, the dockmaster's
Yeah.
clerk, that makes sense. Yeah, dockmaster has a lot of shit going on, so
So it's
and
like,
you guys
hey,
probably aren't high enough up to honestly
that's where my
influence
head
him
was
all.
at. That's where my head.
So
was
yeah,
at.
you're in with the clerk. Yeah, I dig it.
so it's like, hey, which guy gave you trouble when you were trying to get payment? So we know which boats to go and
yeah,
make things
that kind of
disappear.
What is going on?
Yeah,
we got
they'll
raided
give you-
again.
Jeez.
Oh, yo, welcome in.
Too busy
Hey.
reading. Holy fuck.
Oh, Alsana VT, welcome in.
Thanks, Stitch.
Thank
Thanks for the
you.
happy
Thanks
belated.
for being here. Stitchian. What's up?
Full
Yeah,
moon.
welcome in, everybody. Good stuff.
Alter Ego's here. What's up, Wombat?
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, we are in session 0 of our first Blades in the Dark game. We're just setting everything up. Right now we're setting up the crew sheet, and we're kind of just getting ideas of what kind of gang this is going to be. These guys are hawkers. They're going to be, from what it sounds like, stealing stuff and then selling it to the public or to other gangs. Who knows where that can end up.
Slow start. Nobody's died yet because we haven't started yet. Next session, next week.
Still in session 0.
Next week.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't worry, we'll get there. Yeah. So where were we? Contact. Yeah. So what do you think your contact would be? Yeah, the clerk at
The dockmaster clerk. Yes.
The dockmaster's clerk. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So one faction is friendly with him. I assume probably the longshoremen, right?
Yep.
I don't know if you want to take +3, like have that be your ally. They would be your allies at that point if you added a +1 to that. Or you could, if you can justify another faction that would benefit from that, then you can add a +1 to somebody else.
Yeah, because
that's
it
probably
says
where I would
says-
personally go.
Yeah, it says something about like a person could know them and also be their ally, I guess, or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one faction that is friendly with your contact.
Probably the Merchants Guild, right? Someone in the Merchants Guild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's probably the Merchants Guild would probably be also friendly with this contact because.
Okay. How's this contact know the Merchants Guild? Know somebody from the Merchants Guild?
Because of deliveries.
That makes sense. Yeah.
They
get
the
deliveries
merchants need
in.
the
There's
stuff.
probably
Yeah.
Yeah. The delivery driver is super friendly with some of the merchants, and word gets around. So yeah, them. So yeah, you can take a +1 with them because they'll word gets around. They'll say some good stuff about you. Cool. One faction is unfriendly with the contact. Somebody is not a fan of this clerk.
Bill hooks.
Bill hooks. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. You'd get a +1 with the merchants and a -1 with the bill hooks, who are directly at war with the merchants right now.
I mean, yeah, that just makes sense.
Is that the way you guys want to go?
Yeah, that works for me.
Yep.
Okay. Nope, other way around. I just gave you -1 to the merchants. That's not what you want. There we go. All right, so +1 with the merchants, -1 with the bill hooks. That makes some narrative sense. That's good.
Thank you for the follow.
Cool. Yeah, and that could change in the future depending on events. Yeah, thanks for the follow. Thanks again for everybody coming in. We are probably going to get into our first score next week. But we're just finishing up with. That's it. That's all our sheets.
We did it. World's best cup of coffee.
We did it. Yeah, we've got our characters, we've got our crew. I do just want to kind of like set the scene and give you guys one good scene before we close out the week, just so we can actually play the game for a minute. So the game does have sections. It's kind of broken up into sections. So we've got free play, which is we're acting out scenes, we're setting up the drama of it. You're deciding what scores you want to do, and you're kind of scouting it out and figuring it out how you want to do it. And then there's an engagement roll to go into the score, which is where you're actually doing your heist, or doing your event, whatever that score is, whatever your method of payment is. And then there is the downtime, which is where we do payoff, downtime activities, the mechanical stuff that kind of pushes the game in the background. So right now we'll just start out with some free play. You guys are sitting around in your rooftop hideaway, your rooftop lair, all probably getting a little bit hungry at this point. You have 1 coin to your name. You know taxes are due at the end of the week.
I would probably be laying down on a couch with paper over my head. Just, you could hear like the stomach like, oh. Do we have any food? No, neither of you gonna answer me. Sounds great.
I'm too hungry to get up and look.
I've got my goggles on and I'm fidgeting with something too engrossed to even pay attention.
I'll take the paper off of my face and just
You're eating the paper.
Yeah.
And what's your name, by the way, and what do you like?
I'm Weston Carnifo.
Weston Carnifo. Okay.
and I am. So the description is. I put that in the no. That's so I look quick, intimidating, and aggressive. So I have like. I'm muscular for as muscular as I can be, despite not eating enough. But I keep myself in shape.
Okay.
But I'm not like huge. I'm like the lean package. Like I think it's welterweight is what it would be considered.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're stocky, but you're lean. It's all muscle.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So what's your name and what do you look like, Thundercat?
My name is Harris Pluto, but you can call me Potions. And I'm thin, like small, thin, like rigid, very like kind of like Smeagol-ish. Very just like, and always kind of dirty, like just like got like a constant muck or something on him.
Is there a smell to that?
Probably.
Yeah. And Knocka, what's your name and what do you look like?
Name is Xander Foster. Pretty average build. Always wearing like something with a hood. So I'm always like covering my head. I look like I'm hungover all the time.
Okay. Yeah, so what kinds of stuff with hoods are you wearing? Are you wearing like robes or just like hoodies? Like
yeah, it's mostly just like hoodies.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, so you guys don't have any food aside from the little bit of I mentioned earlier there are kind of mushrooms that just sprout up amidst the decay in the soil, and they're edible. They don't have much nutrition. They're generally just kind of mashed up into a mush or sometimes made into a soup. And they taste terrible, but they'll keep you alive. But it's not the best option. You would have to get some quick cash to buy some supplies for the lair to start getting on a steady diet again.
We have 1 coin.
You have 1 coin. You could absolutely use that to buy a month's supply of food, or narratively however long. I probably won't make you buy anymore.
So should we go get food and then figure out what to do about taxes coming up?
Well,
unless you want to eat mushroom soup again.
Didn't we have like plans to go down to the docks and look for things that we could possibly sell?
You want to push that up instead of doing that tomorrow? You want to do that now?
I mean, if you want to go get food for today, then we can do that. But
so I'm gonna say your taxes are due in by session 4. So gotta
get a couple scores in here.
We'll say for now, every 4 sessions you'll have 1 coin tax due.
1 coin per.
Plus the other factions.
Well, that's if we get
plus
caught
whatever
doing that
that's
stuff. And
if you get caught, the dealer you'll owe a coin to no matter what, because he knows what you did. Even if no one knows what you did, he knows what you did.
Good. I appreciate
well,
that.
if we're gonna pull that job off, we probably shouldn't be hungry.
So
Deal.
food, information,
Plan. Go.
plan. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, so where are you going to get some food? You just grabbing some stuff, grabbing some staples, or you going out and we'll say you're using the coin for this. So, whatever you kind of want to do. There are some restaurants around town. For 1 coin you could probably go to a nicer restaurant. An Olive Garden essentially.
I think we would probably go get the equivalent of ramen so that we can have it for a while.
Yeah, I think we should have something that's gonna last us
Ramen and
more
hot
than
dogs.
one meal.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, so either way, you're spending the coin for it. So
Yep.
you'll have that. You'll have ramen for the house, but you can probably afford one better
Well, we can
meal
go get a
if
meal
you
before
wanted
our
to do a
heist.
scene
Mhm.
for that. Just to set up, just to develop the characters a little bit before we start doing heist planning stuff.
We should do the
Next
spaghetti
week.
dinner so that when we're at the football
have
game
a
the
lot
next
of
day, we
carbs.
have all the energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
The football game.
All right, we're going
Yeah,
to Olive
carbo
Garden.
load.
Yay!
Unlimited pasta.
We can come up with a name. I don't think it really, matters. You can have unlimited pasta though if you want.
Pasta Garden.
Is it all the maybe not unlimited pasta? That's super
Soup, salad, and
breadsticks.
soup sour. Yeah, there you go. There's plenty of that mushroom soup. There's some nicer soups there too.
No
Mushroom
salad.
salad.
Soup.
Stokes Croft had a good harvest, so there is a surplus of
Mushrooms.
food coming from them. As much as a surplus could be from them, it's still absolutely going to be a limited supply of fresh produce. But the restaurants in the area are going to be a lot of like processed foods, stretching the limited supply of food as much as they can. You're not going to see any, you probably aren't going to see any fresh produce until you're somewhere in the 8 to 10 coin range.
Potions walks in and sits down on his chair, but when he sits down on the chair, it's like he's got his feet on the chair and his knees are up, like by his head, and he's like a kid does. He's just so skinny and like it just looks real weird. And then he gets the mushroom soup anyways. I like it.
We had mushroom
You
soup
like
at
them?
home.
That doesn't have the little green things in it like this one does.
I think those are bugs.
No, it's like
They're just scallions.
they're like dried out like a leaf and like sprinkled it.
Yeah, it's
Parsley.
freeze
Oh,
dried,
it's parsley.
freeze dried parsley. Just sprinkled in
I don't
there.
I don't get a lot of leaves in my food.
Yeah, and that actually has more nutritional value. The parsley has more nutritional value than the mushrooms.
Than the mushrooms? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What are we eating? These mushrooms. I'm not getting mushroom soup.
Well, it's unlimited, so I can get breadsticks too.
Yeah, just start eating like I assume they're like terrible rolls. I'm just
Yeah, I mean,
Just
it's a
dry
lot of sourdough, right? Like
I love
it's
sourdough.
It's also sourdough, but sourdough with like bleached flour. The flour is definitely stretched as far as they can with some other powders. They've probably got some synthetic flour that they mix in there, which is definitely a carcinogen.
Got great nutritional value.
Is this baby powder in here?
Essentially.
So dry. So dry.
It is a little dry. They can add some sugar to it to kind of, mimic the flavor as much as possible. But I think where you guys are at, even a good meal for you guys is still going to be, McDonald's. Well, I did say Olive Garden,
Right.
but Olive Garden sucks, guys. Whoever said Olive Garden, get out of here.
You said Olive Garden.
I didn't say it was good.
We didn't either.
I mean, maybe good for us. This
Yeah, good for our guys, our
group of
characters.
Just go to town on the bread bowl and water.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll never get that Olive Garden sponsorship now.
So I think over dinner we figure out what our plan is or what we plan on doing, and we come up with a name for our group. I mean, all the other groups have cool names.
You don't have a name yet.
We don't.
I feel like it has to flow and we have to fall into the name, because do you want to be like New Kids on the Block?
What if we all say a word, and then
right?
maybe we whatever those words are, we could put together into a team name.
Sure.
Or maybe we just wait and see what people call us.
So you do know that certain aspects of your business are going to require a business name.
Yeah, we need a faction name.
And that's something you can definitely, work out until eventually someone's going to ask for it. Is what I'm saying. So you don't have to have it, immediately. You can play with it.
have to read it
So we're gonna try this, or we just gonna bring it to the table in the morning?
I mean,
Let's bring it to the table in the morning. I feel like after I have a good sleep on this partially full, not very delicious meal, I'll be able to think better.
What are you talking about? It had leaves in it.
I don't even know if we could call those leaves. It was
My
something.
mouth
Maybe
tastes
one leaf.
like after my aunt.
A
Dust.
leaf. What? What did your aunt do to you?
Dust. It's so dry, but it's
Your
so
aunt
good.
has
I
dust?
can't.
I think there's actually baby powder in this.
When people dust, like I make the motion, like
Nope. This is the first building I've ever lived in.
People will clean where they live.
Roll
They get
a-
little
roll
feather
a-
thing and a duster.
Roll a
Gets all the
fortune
dust off
check
things.
as you're talking shit about this restaurant as you're sitting there.
Who's this?
who
Any one of you. can.
I'm not talking shit
I'll do
about
it.
this restaurant. I
Is
got
it-
the mushroom soup and I'm enjoying it.
2d6.
Just roll 1d6.
Oh, just one.
Oh, you can do 2d6. Yeah. What'd you get on the 2d6?
Oh, I got a 10. Yeah, a 6 and
10?
a 4.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the chef walks by, and hears you saying all of this, and is visibly upset. Like you've hurt his feelings, but he's not going to say anything to you.
I say the mushroom. I look at him as mushroom soup's good.
Do I notice that he looks upset by our comments?
Yeah. You notice it. He walks by. I think he even he probably walks by and is like wiping down a table very aggressively, passive aggressively next to you. Maybe starts sweeping underneath your feet. Like, you guys can get out of here now. Here's your
it's not
bill.
like it's not like it's the chef's fault. I mean, he doesn't have anything good to cook with. He's doing the best he can.
See, his eyes start to lighten up a little bit. Yeah, he leaves it at that.
And I eat some more bread.
He was physically sweeping under our table.
Yeah.
The chef was.
Yeah. He's like, okay, you guys. Yeah. He was.
He's the one
definitely trying to get you out of there.
The chef comes out from the back just to fucking sweep under your chair because you're talking
Just sweep under our feet.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's a small
whole
building. It's an open kitchen, so he heard you talking shit and came out and started trying to get you to leave.
The whole spot under my chair was available. My feet were not on the ground.
Jesus.
All right, cool. So you guys finish up your meal. You don't do any actual planning for the heist yet.
No.
Because we don't really have a heist yet. But you guys know now that you're going to try to go down by the docks and kind of see what you can find out. And what you might be able to steal and sell, right? That's the general consensus of what you want to do for your first score.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. So we will get into that next week. You guys have a full belly. You can go home. You get to bed. You are ready to take on the next day. You have no coins left. So I'm also going to say, as far as petty cash goes, you don't have much of that lying around either. So when it comes to buying supplies that you might need, you don't really have any money to do that. So you're going to have to do it with what you got.
I say we get the stuff that we have though in the equipment, right?
You got the stuff that you have in your equipment.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. You're just not acquiring anything else right now.
That's fine with me. I just wanted to make sure I had that stuff.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and then next week we'll get on into it.
All right,
and get our first score. I'm excited for that. That should be fun.
That should be a good time. or it's gonna be a disaster. There's like no middle ground there.
Yeah, right.
Bro, we had a crazy night in the stream, by the way.
Yeah, we absolutely did.
That was cool.
A bunch of raids.
Started out the night with 5 gifted subs and a 6-month sub from D20 Dice Goblin. Thanks so much for that, and thanks for hanging out for the stream. And then we got a raid from Neon Lich Studios. Thank you everybody who stuck around from that, and thank you for that raid. And then thank you for the raid from Alsana VT. And thanks for everybody for coming in and chatting. I know we didn't, really do much RPing this week. But this is the first time I think we've ever done a character creation on stream. Usually we'll create those off stream and bring you straight into the story. But I wanted to I wanted to take some opportunity to kind of do this with all of us, with you guys, because I thought this was a fun way to kind of get things kicked off with this game. We still got to workshop a name for the kind of campaign
for the campaign
story. And since there's no like overarching story as of yet, we don't have anything to kind of like name it off of unless we just called it Durham Falls something. But yeah, that's something we gotta workshop, and we'll figure out, and we'll try to figure out in the next couple of weeks.